My guest today is Natasha Trenev, who is known as the mother of probiotics. Her extensive experience and knowledge in the industry began with her family's 7th century history of producing the most beneficial yogurt, even prized by the royal family of Yugoslavia. Now, Natasha Trenev is one of the natural health industry's pioneers and is the founder and president of Nature and Probiotics. Now, her products come with over 40 years of focused, rigorous scientific research and technology from leading scientists and researchers in the field of probiotics. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back my esteemed guest today, the CEO and founder of Nature and Probiotics, Natasha Trenev, to the show. Welcome back.
Wow, I'm so excited. I mean, we have such important topics to discuss, and I'm so glad that I'm able to share this information.
Well, I always love it when you're on the show, Natasha, because I feel like I get to be the student for once, and so I'm about to learn quite a bit from you today because I know that you and I are discussing what happens to be or happens to those who choose to use the weight loss drugs such as Ozempic, which is falls into that class of GLP-1 drugs. Why is this class of drugs for weight loss not the answer to better health when one loses the weight?
Okay, I want to go back to my, 101 physiology. The purpose of your digestive tract, which digestion starts in the mouth, is to process food coming in from the outside to the right molecular size without rotting anywhere in the intestinal tract, not disturbing the immune system, and being absorbed in the right molecular size in order to nourish the body and not cause a huge autoimmune response. So, what is the problem with drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy? So, basically, even at a half dose, which Ozempic was used as a diabetic drug, what it did, it paralyzes the stomach muscle so that the stomach muscle is not able to finish the digestion of the food, slows it down, and then the dumping from the stomach into the small intestine is hampered. And what happens to a lot of that food in the stomach, it starts rotting, and so by the time that it's dumped, that's why you're feeling the sensation of nausea. You feel lightheaded because the body's first defense, if something is not right in your stomach, it wants to throw it up. The reason it wants to throw it up, it's trying to protect the body from damage. So that's why you have this constant feeling of nausea. Your body's speaking to you, but you're basically telling it to shut up. Don't send me the message. I don't want to hear it. So, besides the nausea and the fullness and heaviness in the stomach, which causes lack of sleep, it increases depression. In fact, people who were using these drugs had a 45% increase in suicidal thoughts because your body's not getting the right nourishment. It's probably getting a lot more toxins because by the time the food is dumped from the stomach into the small intestine, now the small intestine is having to deal with this with all the immune cells on the intestinal wall going crazy, figuring out what the heck is this. It's not really well digested, and even secondary digestion in the small intestine is impeded. So basically, you have an interruption in the movement of food from the mouth to the other end, which should happen if you're healthy in 24 hours. And that disruption causes huge upheaval in the body. And I can just give you part of it: acute kidney injury, blurred vision, bloating. Uh, can reduce the efficiencies of the vitamin A, B12, D, and E absorption, magnesium and potassium absorption. It causes confusion, constipation, decreased urination, diarrhea, dizziness, fatigue, gallbladder disease, gastroparesis, which means the paralysis of the stomach, headaches, hypoglycemia, loss of appetite, possibly leading to malnutrition, nausea, pancreatitis, stomach pain, suicidal thoughts, swelling in the extremities, and thyroid cancer. That's just a short list.
Okay, you keep saying the word dumping,
Hmm.
and I'm wondering if that means that these people that are on Ozempic or Wegovy, they're undigested food is entering the small intestine, correct?
Yeah, because you're paralyzing the stomach muscle. So the stomach muscle is not able to secrete and mash the food to digest it so that it's ready for dumping because it's a very good process. There's hormonal and chemical messengers that tell the body, okay, the stomach has finished its digestive process. Now it needs to be dumped from that little flap that needs to open from the stomach into the small intestine to continue digestion of carbs, which happens in the upper small intestine where the bile function is, where we emulsify the oil.
This type of drug could trigger autoimmune conditions.
Absolutely. You do it long enough. We know that it decreases the bone structure, decreases muscle mass, which is very dangerous, especially as people age, because once you decrease the muscle mass and you go off of this drug and you start eating regularly, you're going to gain fat. You're not going to gain muscle mass. That's the big danger.
Now you brought up you said vitamin A and you mentioned B12. And
Hmm.
the very thought that entered my mind is that part of the intestinal tract, we have the ileum. And correct me if I'm wrong, uh, but in the ileum, isn't that where the intrinsic factor is created, which you have to create vitamin B12?
Yes. Well, remember, the ileum is the lowest part of the small intestine, the 20 feet. You have the duodenum, then you have your jejunum, and then you have your ileum. And that's connected to the large intestine and the food that travels through the small intestine. There's another little valve over there called the ileocecal valve that opens up, dumps the food from the small intestine to the large intestine, where the final digestive process happens. Now, when this food is not properly digested, it'll definitely cause the autoimmune to say, wait a minute, we've got a wrong particle size here. It could be possibly dangerous. So then you're going to have your immune system overreacting as well. So it creates huge problems. And,
Well,
I hate to say this, but in the movie industry, there's now titles called the Ozempic face and the Ozempic behind because, people don't look normal anymore. And unfortunately, once they lose that muscle mass, it's almost very difficult to rebuild.
yeah, I want to bring up something that you said in a previous series of our interviews. And since 2018, 62,000 adverse effects have been reported using Ozempic like drugs,
Yes.
linking them to 162 deaths. Now, I've thought if a drug causes at least 15 deaths, it has to be removed from the market. Why is it still on the market?
Yeah, that's a good question. It means that the FDA is not doing their job.
Yeah, we
You
know
know,
that.
actually, yeah, actually, even if you have 5 deaths, the FDA is supposed to force the manufacturer to put a black box on the product, which means this product can do as much harm as it can help. So then you're taking a risk. And most people don't even know what a black box is. And the FDA has been failing us in some of these drugs and their uses, what we call off label uses. Ozempic was first used off label. Basically, it was a half dose for diabetics, and then they doubled the dose for weight loss. And don't forget, which is horrifying to me, they use a lizard venom to paralyze the stomach muscles. Now, most of you don't remember, but there was a huge series on a lot of these channels, like the Science Channel. I don't remember exact Discovery Channel, where they had whole episodes of why Big Pharma was studying the use of venom, supposedly to help us with disease. And now I see one of the uses, which is not really helping us with disease, but to paralyze the stomach muscle, that's probably one of the worst things you could ever do to your body.
You know, people don't realize what the FDA says in their bylaws that you're not allowed to make a drug unless there's an actual
Mhm.
disease.
That's
But
right.
Viagra was created, there's no disease for that. And now
No,
Ozempic is being used for weight loss, even though they want to classify obesity as a disease. But some people are using those drugs where they're not actually obese. They're in it
Right.
for vanity.
Yeah, and that's the danger because Viagra was originally, if you want to talk about that, was created for to increase blood flow to heart patients, and then they found out, oh boy, we can get make a lot more money. But the thing is, again, we're going back to how the body was designed. The body is not defective; it's your perception of the body that's defective. Uh, I didn't create the problem with the microbiome. We created it as a society. These bacteria are not stupid. They're a lot smarter than we are. And they don't stay anywhere where it's not in their best interest. So we have made our body less desirable for the good bacteria and more desirable for the bad bacteria. Now we've done this all on our own. And what it is then, manufacturers get desperate to, how shall I say, take care of symptoms. Our whole industry, we talk about going back to the greats, was never to mimic the use of drugs with natural products to take care of symptoms. Our whole industry was created to give the tools, whether with the right beneficial bacteria, the herbs, the supplements, to give the body the tools to heal itself. We've sort of lost our way because I think some great marketing people figured out, wow, if we can tell them that they can keep taking care of these symptoms, we can sell a heck of a lot more of this stuff than we did before. And I think the fact that there's a huge lack of knowledge among the populace. I remember in the 1970s, people were much more informed about basic things than they are now. They've got very short attention spans. And unfortunately for us, there's no, how shall I say, reduction in the rise of autism. Cancer, turbo cancers are now prevalent among the young. I talked to a young woman 2 weeks ago in her early 30s, breast cancer, and her whole group is of women in their late 20s, early 30s with breast cancer. I never heard of anything like this. We have young children with colon cancer. We are, just heading down a very terrible thing because it's going to well, our healthcare system is already overwhelmed. And the fact is that we don't have any standards that are acceptable in the health food industry. And we have very little knowledge how we can give the tools to our body to heal itself. And that's one of the reasons I stayed. It's not about selling you a bottle of the Healthy Trinity. It's not about selling you anything. It's about that I understand what's going on, and we have to start helping each other and asking each other to start using the critical part of our brain to think and to figure out what it is we need to turn around in our society so we can stop this slide into, sort of an abyss into chronic illness.
You used Lactobacillus acidophilus,
Um,
Bifidobacterium bulgaricus, and Bifidobacterium infantis. Can these three strains of probiotics help people who have taken Ozempic like drugs?
Oh, absolutely. Look, the Healthy Trinity has the Lactobacillus acidophilus, the Bifidobacteria bifidum, and the Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Now, the Lactobacillus bulgaricus is one of the few, maybe one in three probiotic organisms that I can actually help pre-digest our food. And what I do is that I say, along with the Healthy Trinity, buy a product called Digestalac. And Digestalac has this special Lactobacillus bulgaricus. And I tell people, especially when their stomach's not digesting, to take two of our dairy free capsules before each meal, and to take it at least 3 times a day, and to take one Healthy Trinity in the morning and one in the evening, and see if you need to add more because now you've stopped the vital function of your body. And at least I'm trying to get the body not to allow the food to actually become toxic in your stomach and get broken down so that it can go into your small intestine and stave off some of the damage these drugs are doing.
So you actually have the Digestalac?
Yes, I do. Yeah, and if they call our company, all of the ladies that work for me, Susan's been with me for 28 years, Carolyn for over 20, Faye's sort of a newcomer. She's several years there, but they all know my protocols, and we're happy to help you learn about this because it's probably the most important thing you can learn, which bacteria to take, how to take it, and get off those simple sugars. Stop taking stuff that destroys your body. enjoy nature, get up in the morning with the sunshine, you let it into your face, have a moment with your prayer or meditation, whatever you want to do. Let's turn around the health of our country. It's really, we're in a very dangerous, almost no turnaround end zone. And we
Yeah.
need to really stop it.
For those that are probably watching right now and they're scared to death, maybe they've been on Ozempic, maybe they have a family member who's been using it, and their mind's racing. If someone starts to rebuild their gut microbiome naturally, chooses to eat healthy,
Mhm.
get some exercise, get outside for some sunshine, they will be able to lose weight naturally, right?
Absolutely. Look, we're all under a lot of stress. The chemicals that are produced under stress, and that's also the flight or fight mechanism where the body refuses to burn fat because it's afraid it's going to need it to protect the body from real harm. So we're all, prisoners of that. And I think we should just get into groups. And some people are allergic to some foods, even that are healthy. In the old days, we didn't pay for expensive tests. We just took one food and didn't eat it for 72 hours and introduced a smaller part of it after 72 hours and figured out if it agrees with us or not. We have to learn to listen to our bodies. Maybe this is a good time for us to reach out to our neighbors, to form those groups, and to really get down to the bottom of this because there is no easy fix. The easy fix is your mind. What you decide to do and what you decide to believe. I always tell people there's no excuse for being brain dead. Uh, you know,
Yeah, I, I love that. I think I was reading I think I was reading Joyce Meyer this morning, and
Mhm.
you can't have a negative mind and a positive life.
That's right.
You've got to have a positive mind to have a positive life. And that's what we need to do. And you have brought us such incredible, positive information and news for all of us. And now I am itching to order the Digestelac myself. I
Hmm.
want to add that to my own regimen. And ladies and gentlemen, you can too, because you can go to natron.com for the best. And I can say it with an absolute confidence that Natron is the best probiotics on the market. Order the Natron Healthy Trinity. And as Natasha has even mentioned, the Digestelac, so add that one to your order as well. Use the promo code Dr. Ward Bond. There's a little special gift along with that as well. And get started
Hmm.
on the road to good health. Give them a call. Like she said, they have an incredible staff that will be more than happy to answer your questions. So give them a call at 866-462-8736 to order the Nature and Healthy Trinity. Get started on it today. And don't forget the promo code Dr. Ward Bond. And if you visit my website at drwardbond.com, just scan down to the bright blue page, click on the Healthy Trinity by Natron, and there's an extra special discount site wide for you as well. And Natasha, thank you for so much for coming on and educating not only me, but educating all of the viewers today about the gut microbiome and a better way to lose weight.
My pleasure. And, let's get our country healthy again.
Amen. I love that. And ladies and gentlemen, again, head over to natron.com and give them a call. The number's at the bottom of your screen. Hey, stay tuned. I'll be right back with a little bit more.